Spectre Divide was expected to make a big splash in the world of competitive shooter games. However, it seems that only a few weeks after its release, it's struggling to stay among the top 200 most played games on Steam, and the number of players is dropping pretty fast. The game launched on September 3rd with a decent player base thanks to a big marketing campaign. As many of you probably know, popular streamer Shroud, who helped create the game, played it with his huge audience on Twitch, which helped attract a lot of attention initially for the game. On the first day, over 30,000 people were playing Spectre Divide at the same time, which is pretty good for a smaller game in a very crowded genre. This game is up against the likes of CSGO and Valorant, so stealing even some of that market share is pretty impressive. But now, only 5,800 players are playing the game, placing it at the 205th most played game on Steam, according to data from Steam Charts and SteamDB. This is a pretty big drop in players in just 3 weeks. Now, a drop-off in players is expected. A game's peak is often most likely to be in its first initial weeks of launch, and then it's very much expected for it to drop off slowly over time. However, the daily numbers on Spectre Divide seem to be falling more and more each day, and eventually we're going to get into some triple-digit numbers. Shroud, who played a big role in promoting Spectre Divide, has also been streaming less of his own game lately. Instead, he's been spending more time playing another game, which I'm sure you're all aware of, called Deadlock. As a result of this, obviously fewer people are watching Spectre Divide on Twitch. At the moment, only 250 viewers are watching the game on Twitch, with the highest number in the past 24 hours being around 600 viewers on a stream. We all know that as a free-to-play shooter, and a free-to-play game in general, having lots of players active constantly is very important. Without enough people to play against, the game can get boring very quickly, especially if you keep facing the same few opponents over and over and over again. This could lead to more people quitting, plus with fewer players it becomes harder for the game to sell in-game items and make more money, and eventually it becomes so hard that you can't even matchmake and find a game. Or you can, but it takes too long and players don't like a 5-minute waiting queue, so they give up and eventually the game dies. Looking at other games recently, such as Concord, which obviously struggled to attract players and eventually shut down, it's possible that, slowly but surely, this may face the same problem. Despite the game's unique and cool features, such as letting players control 2 characters at once, the game just seems to be losing its audience. It also has ongoing technical issues that have bothered many players since the launch, and this may also be a reason for the decline. But what about other reasons? Why are people leaving Spectre Divide? Well, I went to Steam to have a look at the reviews, and it's pretty obvious. First of all, the game has 13,000 reviews, which is a pretty good number for just 3 weeks of being launched. However, it's at a 61% rating, so 39% of people that play this game rate it negatively, which is not very good at all. A big reason that I'm seeing in the Steam reviews that is frequently popping up is that the game already has cheaters, just 3 weeks into release. It has cheats available online to download which are free, which is actually insane. I don't think I've seen a game get cheats this quickly. Usually it takes a few months at least. And the game having no anti-cheat is a huge problem for this, or at least not a good one. I'm not sure if it has one, but all the reviews seem to say that it doesn't have a good anti-cheat system. It's unclear whether or not it actually does have one at all. There are also many comments about connectivity, people saying the ping in the game is quite unbelievable. People saying they have, for example, 120 to 200 FPS, but it feels like they have 10 FPS because there is constant stuttering due to lag. And remember a minute ago when I mentioned queue times and people are getting annoyed and therefore leaving bad reviews or leaving the game? Well, it's already happening. There's a review here that says that they tried to run a game during their lunch break and the queue time was 20 minutes. Now obviously, during someone's lunch break, the majority of people are going to be at work or school, college, etc. and not playing the game. This was likely during an off-peak time, but 20 minutes for a search time is insane. Most games don't even allow you to search for 20 minutes. They just cancel the search after like between 5 and 10 and ask you to try again. Now this review goes into more detail and says they think the reason that it took so long was because they were searching with friends. Apparently, they dropped the friends and searched solo and found a game within minutes. So this leads me to believe that there's some kind of barrier when you are searching with friends or a stack of players. Maybe it tries to also match you with another stack of players. This happens in some games, so you don't get a 4 stack, or I guess in this game a 3 stack of players playing against 3 solo players, right? Trying to make fair games. But when you have a smaller player count, you can't do this. You kind of have to abandon those rule sets in your matchmaking system. So this might be something they might want to consider. It might lead to more imbalanced games, but I think people would prefer less balanced games, in return for more frequent games. And then you've got other comments saying that people are rage quitting after a round and, leaving them to lose the game. The map layouts are pretty bad. The mechanic of the controlling 2 players at once apparently isn't really that fun either. People saying they uninstalled pretty quickly. Movement isn't fun. Maps are too big for 3v3. Everyone is shooting through gaps in walls, etc. And also a massive complaint which I saw going around Twitter was that the store pricing for the cosmetics, because this is a free game, therefore it has skins, microtransactions. Apparently, the store prices were insane, like higher priced than AAA titles such as CS and Valorant, etc. People, I think there was like $60 for a skin bundle or something, which for a new IP is insane to be asking that price point. And the devs actually reduced everything by, I think, like 15%, just, store-wide. But people are still saying their prices are like really egregious. So overall, looking at these, it just seems like a product that was released without being finished. Again, something we're seeing in the gaming world a lot lately. Games releasing that don't have enough content to keep players satisfied, that are releasing with way too many bugs to be classed as a full launch, and should likely be classed as early access or still in beta and not fully released. And connectivity issues as well. But the one thing that always seems to work is the in-game store. Funny, isn't it? It's almost like some developers don't have their priorities straight, and therefore, well, this is the result. Obviously, it's not time to give up on this game just yet. It still has some time. Like, between 5,000 and 8,000 plays daily isn't something to laugh at. It's not a dead game. It's sitting in the, mid of the pack range, but it will slowly dwindle down, and they need to do something to stop the burn. The current situation with the game doesn't look too good. So yeah, the game needs to stop losing its players quickly or start gaining more players by doing marketing. Therefore, Shroud needs to play the game a bit more. If it hopes to survive and stick around for a long time, then these are things that are going to need to happen. So, yeah, that's it. Let me know what you think of Spectre Divide. Have you played it? Let me know in the comments. If you have, let me know your thoughts on it, and if you give it a positive or negative review. Have you watched any of it? And yeah, that's it. All right, see you in the next video. Thanks for watching this one. Make sure to subscribe too, and goodbye.